Wisdom. We feel it's an elusive thing. At times, we are told it's the sole privy of spiritual leaders, teachers, priests, rabbis, popes, or gurus. There are numerous, countless to mention. We are told sometimes that the only way to attain enlightenment or wisdom is through a church, a temple, a synagogue, a mosque, a remote forest, or a hidden cave in a mountain. Wisdom is akin to spiritual expansion. It's reconnection to source through which wisdom is attained. A knowing and an intuition, a truth mixed with intellect, intelligence, mind, that creates wisdom. It's the release of the Trinity, of the Spirit and the heart and the mind, a divine Trinity that we have within all of us. This inner expansion, this knowing and feeling. It is the gradual and ceaseless unfolding of sight beyond sight. The universe is mathematically precise. The universe is numbers. It's the science of numerology. It's Vedic astrology and Western astrology through the energy and forces of cosmic bodies, right down to microbial life itself. Wisdom is the understanding of these universal laws and how we apply them to our broader physical universal experience. Wisdom is through the encompassing of the absolute integration of the physical and our mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic self. It's the coalescing of all our energetic states of frequency, our spirit, our heart, our mind, to grace itself, to unleash wisdom and knowing, which then transforms our intellect and intelligence and how we use mind. It's how we express ourselves in the enormity of what is above and what is below. Wisdom, however, is not the giving away of freedom, nor is it the notion of greater good, or any imposition of our free will, our liberty, and movement in any way, shape, or form, for any reason, as an excuse, as giving birth to a new way of life, through restriction, through imposition, to subjugation. We are challenged at this moment in time to make a choice whether we are willing to accept the removals of these divine liberties and gifts that we have, whether they are willing to accept subjugation, suppression of movement, of thought, of belief, of word, of action, of intent. We're not here to be the same. We're here because we are different. We are here to learn to live in harmony, to live together as one, in harmony and peace and love and unity, and express more light than darkness, and thereby lessen the imposition of duality. The world itself is run to steer us away from these universal laws and also our divine implicit gifts. What we need to realize is that the universe is ours. It's everyone's. It's all life exists within it and needs to share it for abundance, love, beauty, and joy. This world is ours for the same reasons. We are all from different places in our spirit. We're all co-joined here, coalescing as one species called the human species. In Shuya, this is a global universal divine experiment to see whether we can live as one. Will we? Can we? It's free will and liberty of all of us to determine whether this experiment will be successful or we will allow it to drop into failure. Life is your own. Fear is a choice. Love is an action. Separation will always be imposed because it's not within our heart to deliver separation upon each other. Free will is implicit and is mandatory. Liberty is all-encompassing. Anyone suggesting the imposition of any of these principles and divine universal laws is not doing so from wisdom, but is doing so from mind. Any spiritual practitioner, guru, metaphysical or esoteric teacher that professes any of these impositions or proposes the greater good as a reason to remove your liberty is not doing so from wisdom. Many are not of spiritual integration but merely practicing spiritual, esoteric or metaphysical modalities. We are not here to follow blindly the absurdity of rules and acts of others. We should realize ourselves and not miss the true nature of all that is and all that we are. We must also remember that all that is, source, God, grace, whatever we wish to call the divine unity of the One, is devoid of all ideology. It's devoid of religion. It's devoid of spiritual approaches and modalities in all of its forms. All that is simply truth in its purest and blunt form. There are no exceptions to this rule. There is only one true reality, and it is what it pertains to be, which is just truth, reality, love, beauty, joy, and free will, an infinite stream of all possibility that allows us to be all that we can be and all that we are. We come here to evolve out of where we are. This is the true reason for existence in itself. We come here to evolve, to see whether we will entrain into the impositions around us, the duality in which we find ourselves, that we choose, in which we choose to come. It's a brutal duality that presents us with light and dark. And it's a choice for us to determine which direction we go. Will determine whether we realize our purpose, whether we move forward in our multiple cycles of rebirth and incarnational life towards grace and ultimately the release from the cycle of rebirth, which is the evolution to the divinity and the unity of one, which is the reason for existence and the only reason for existence. Everything else is an experience that we create whilst we're here, is an experience but will either move us towards or away from this end. If we truly sit comfortably in silence and in meditation and remove our egoistic, intellectual, self-centric minds, this statement will hold true if we're honest with ourselves. There is purpose to life. There are no coincidences. There are only synchronicities, signs and symbols, events and people and places. There is meaning and direction to existence in all of its forms, animate or inanimate. We are here to emit the unity of the One, whilst in this brutal duality. This is our challenge. But it's through wisdom developed through the continual opening of sight behind sight, which will see the shift to realize our divine nature or not. This will always be a free will choice, a choice of liberty, a choice where we determine where we wish to be, what we wish to experience, what we wish this human experience to ultimately become. We should be prepared to see the reality of this universal theatre. It is beauty, and it is also duality. It is joy, it is love. It is also sadness, and it is also hate. It is impossible to avoid the duality as it exists. Spiritual expansion will present truth as the movement implies it. It's impossible to avoid. We as humans together in unity are at a crossroads in our lives, in our human experiences. Before us is the next phase of humanity, and it's subject to change. It's changing as we speak, as you listen to this video. It is unpreventable. The direction that is before us, the reset, the change, be that economic, social, spiritual, or energetic, is a choice we have before us. It's determined by what we will do next, what we will allow to be done to us next. What we do, intend, allow, remain blind to, knowingly or unknowingly. We will experience in the now and incarnationally from lifetime to lifetime, as we will always experience what we leave behind, what we've allowed, that we have failed to transcend away from, because we are here to change this experience for everyone. And we do that by changing the experience for others as well as ourselves. This is a divine fact. This is the cycle of rebirth and one of the reasons for it. To move towards Source and the unity of the One is to elevate your frequency to the highest level possible whilst in form. This is not perfection, this is expansion. There's no reason to provide proof of incarnational life or the reason for life, as it is within you already. And each of us will see this in the end, as that is also an unavoidable fact. The sadness of human society is we have intellectualized the divine out of existence. We have replaced this with egocentric intellectual ideology, systems and technology. Wisdom, or albeit the deletion of it, will determine whether or not the persistence of this trajectory will determine our future. We've replaced the divine and given ourselves new gods. The awakening we observe in mind and the never-ending conveyor belt of exposure and narrative across all forms of social media are bringing out into the scene what was in the unseen, shining light onto that which was in the darkness, presenting us with the realities of our human experiences and the hierarchies of control that exist and the agendas that they hold for the rest of humanity, which we are now being shown openly before us. This all has a place in our movement and expansion forward, because to not know is to remain ignorant. To not accept and to dismiss is to be foolish. But the outcome needs to lead to somewhere. The outcome must lead to change, otherwise the activity of awakening and exposure is merely a mental one, because the ultimate end will be unchanged. We need to see, know, open, act, evolve and reconnect. We are not here just to spiritually expand in ourselves silently and not contribute to the world and humanity in some way to move expression forward to greater frequency and to help change and shift the duality towards more light than towards the darkness. To do so, we need to have inner fortitude and power. The power is within us, and the release of it is through the greater path for yourself and others. It is the power to create change from light, and it requires physical action. It requires us to say no more to what persists and ails us in life. The power to stand up and say no more to what causes division, disruption of grace, of love, of light, beauty and joy. It is the inner force to propel transformation in the hierarchies that we have allowed to persist and grow and root in society, across all of our brothers and sisters across the globe, and to which we have given control and our power away to. To recover this power is through the I, the nature of our true existence within. It awaits for us all to reconnect, to say hello, to offer it our embrace. It loves all of us unconditionally. It is a connection. It is source. It is the divine unity of one. There is nothing else. There are also false astral forces and dimensional presence. Those of misplaced force conjure and seek to subjugate humanity into transhumanist states of illusion. They give sacrifice, ritual, worship, ceremony to these illusional gods. These are worshipped by those who have lost their way and those who will find their true path over countless lifetimes. These all exist in our duality. The truth is, in this universe that we exist in, everything is possible because there are infinite. We are in an infinite stream of endless possibility because there are no limits. When we are all in the divine unity of the One, there are no limits. The limits are in our free will and the direction we place our energy, where we wish our energy to flow and our attention to go. You are listening to this as your heart, your spirit has presented it to you. Be wise. Make this transformation, this period of change in which we must act, to be what you want it to be. See what you fear, because that is the only way to remove fear. Fear is always there, but it does not need to persist. Duality is a manifestation of us all. We create duality through free will. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. Remember where your spirit originates and never leaves. This experience you chose. Make it the one you wish to return to. Wisdom is mind, intelligence, intellect, intuition, and knowing. The divine is spirit and love. These are all unbreakable forces of light. You are this light.